Just watched Venom in theaters, and it was good. I went in expecting nothing, but was pleasantly surprised. So, that's why you should always keep your expectations low. Anyways, I just need to get my thoughts down in the most raw and fresh way as possible, so here we go. Spoilers for everything. Okay, let's get this out of the way first. Severely disappointed in the lack of tentacle sex. I was promised. No, I was not promised. There was this rumor going around Instagram and Twitter that Eddie and Venom had a kissing scene. And they did, but it was not in the context that I was thinking of. That being said, though, the romance in this movie was impressively palpable. The leads had such chemistry for each other, and you could tell that they really grew on each other and they really liked each other. I'm not talking about Eddie and Anne. I'm talking about Eddie and Venom, obviously. Tom Hardy did a really good job. I was afraid I wasn't going to like Eddie very much because he's a dumbass, but, Tom Hardy's he had such a charismatic performance that he turned him into a lovable dumbass, and that made me root for him, even though he's everything that everyone said that he was. He's got a good heart, so that makes it okay. The villain, unfortunately, was just so cartoonishly evil and sociopathic that I could not take him seriously at all. And, the person playing him did the part well, but I just don't think he was well written. He wants to go to space for some reason, and he keeps talking about how humans are parasites, and he wants to people just use each other and drain resources from the earth, but then he just takes poor people and he uses them as guinea pigs for his science experiments. So, hypocrite mode. When he was talking to that guy, the first test subject, I guess, and he was like, Isaac, that's a biblical name. And then he goes on about how he's a sacrifice and he's doing it for the good of mankind, and then the symbiote just kills him anyway. Did he do that with all of the test participants when Maria was taken from the streets? Was he like, Maria, that's an Italian variant of a biblical name? Nobody talks like that. Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place. It's really late, and I don't know why I'm doing this. I have to get up early, but I have to get the freshness of my opinions down. So there's 4 symbiotes. One of them is Venom, and the other 2 died, and then the other one is Riot. And they're just called Venom and Riot on their home planet, too. They didn't get these names when they came to Earth. They were just called Venom and Riot. Maybe when they attached onto a host, they were able to verbalize it in such a way. Maybe on their home planet, it's just a bunch of gibberish, but when you put it through an English speaker, it sounds just like Venom and Riot, and there's no connotation for those names back on their planet. Anyway. Also, I guess they have gender on that planet, too. This isn't a big deal, but I find it funny that they just used male pronouns for him, for Venom, and then he was just like, okay, yeah, and then he just went with it. Gender isn't a foreign construct on that planet, I guess. This is just nitpicking at this point, or whatever. Okay, wait, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So Riot, the one who landed in Malaysia and escaped, I guess, he latches on to a nurse lady, and then she latches on to an old woman, and then the time skip happens between Eddie getting fired from his job and then the symbiotes actually getting human tested. And within those 6 months, that old woman that Riot was attached to just then, at the end of the 6 months, got to an airport, and it was flying to San Francisco. What was it doing during the past 6 months? Did Riot had to pay for his airline ticket? Did they not let him in? Could he not have just like knocked all the guards out or like hijacked his way onto the plane? Well, no, obviously he had to get there somehow. He couldn't have just walked through the ocean or attached onto a fish or a shark. That wouldn't have been as fast as flying United or Emirates. So, yeah, I guess he had to like scrounge around for 6 months to get a ticket and then be able to fly to San Francisco so he could go to Life. Maybe he was like gathering information on the Life Foundation. Also, really funny that it's called the Life Foundation. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I think Venom is a male power fantasy in all aspects. I mean, like, the really big physique, the power that he has over armed officials, and being able to take revenge on people who have wronged you, and then you would be able to get to say, oh, it wasn't me, it was the symbiote inside me. So Venom is kind of like the ultimate id to Eddie's ego. And then I guess that makes Anne the superego, but Freudian psychology aside, I think there were interesting things happening about like parasitism, what it means to be human, why aliens want to take over the world. Oh, wait, yeah, the aliens wanted to take over the world for some reason. Okay, well, the aliens lived on a comet or, I don't know, a planet where oxygen rich levels would kill them. So, why would they want to take over a planet where it's not easy to find a perfect host? It's gonna be like, if you don't find like your best host, then you're gonna die. Surely there was like other planets that they could have gone to that didn't have oxygen on them. This is like Signs all over again. I guess the aliens were just as bad as humans in this film. I guess their resources were running low, so they wanted to be parasites to another species and take over their world and then make everyone in the world become weird hybrids. Would that be such a bad future? I mean, Eddie and Venom got along so well. Would it be so bad to have like, well, I mean, there's millions of them, so they would probably outnumber. No. I mean, no, there's a billion people on the planet. No, but they can't actually like fight against superhuman thing alien symbiotes. So, I can't imagine a society like that. What's the hierarchy? What's the social hierarchy of a planet full of goo-like creatures look like? So, like, I guess the theme of the movie is that to live is to consume and to use up the things that are around you. But you can choose what you want to consume and what you want to use, as Eddie explains to Venom at the very end when Venom is asking, like, why can't we eat all people? And Eddie has to explain that there are good people and there are bad people. And I guess gray morality doesn't exist. And it's not always so clean cut. You gotta like make moral decisions. You can't teach him that, Eddie. You can't teach this alien who I guess is like, I guess their planet was just like an anarchist state or something, because good and evil apparently weren't things that were familiar. All they had to know was just like to survive. What Also, I love Venom's moral code. It just seems to be do whatever you want. Maybe what they were just more animalistic on their planet. They only seem to just respond to stimulus, and then they only started. I guess Venom only started to have human emotions once he bonded with Eddie. Oh yeah, human emotions. Okay, so when Anne was taking Eddie to the hospital after his freak out at the media building or whatever, also really funny that he just decided to leave his phone there and just leave a note that said, do the right thing. with arrows pointing to it, not even explaining instructions or even the passcode to how to unlock the phone. So when he was driving back with her and he was explaining like, oh, I know everything you know, so I know that you're sad about this girl and you need to apologize to her before it's too late. And I lost my McFreaking mind. He is the ultimate wingman. He just wants, I don't know, I guess he is interested in Anne less so than Eddie is. He just wants what's best for Eddie. So that's what makes him a good wingman. This just, he's emotionally sensitive, I guess, now. But at the end, though, when he's like, we're totally gonna win her back, that worries me on a very fundamental level. Like, that's not how human relationships should work, but that is how it works in a Saturday morning cartoon. So I'm looking forward to meticulously planned dates that were all thought up by Venom, and he even does the decor while Eddie does the cooking or whatever, and then he's like feeding lines to Eddie while like making dinner conversation, and then it's like this bizarre parent trap thing where he tries to set him back up again so that he can watch I guess I don't know, I guess he wants he wants Dan to be like a cuckold or something. By the way, Dan is the nice doctor friend who dates Anne after Anne dumps Eddie. Just in case you didn't watch the movie, why are you even watching this? If you haven't watched the movie, you should watch the movie. I don't think you should spend money on this movie, but I do think you should see it. Oh yeah, so I went into this movie thinking because it was going to be a hot garbage fire because of this one line in the trailer where he's like, you're gonna be like a turd in the wind. Like, it was some sort of like, it was like something cool to say. But now that I know that Eddie is like a dumbass, that totally makes sense that it would come out of Venom's mouth like that. But they sort of ended it on that line when I thought that was going to be like the peak of the movie. So I guess that caught me off guard how like that's kind of like the final line that they wanted to leave on this movie, that Venom is like a dork who doesn't know anything about humans, and Eddie is just, I guess he's just the same person he's always been. I don't know, I guess this is Venom's movie. I guess Venom had the character arc, I don't know. Oh yeah, and then afterwards Venom just eats the guy whole. Like, he just vores him. There's no body in the store left. I thought that the Chinese lady was gonna have to clean up after the headless carcass that Venom was gonna leave behind, but no, there's no body when Eddie is leaving the store, so he just ate him whole. So how does that work exactly? Where does the body go? Oh yeah, by the way, the CGI was really fun to watch. The action scenes were really good too. They kept me on the edge of my seat. My heart was racing during some of them, which is not easy. It's actually incredibly easy to do. But I had fun watching it, so that counts for something, I think. There was this one part where Riot and Venom fused together, and I don't know what was going on with that part, but I was there for it. Okay, with all of that out of the way, here's my idea for Venom 2. Number 1, make it a buddy cop comedy. So we got the hard, grizzled reporter who wants the truth, and then we also have the wild card who doesn't play by anyone's rules, is unfamiliar with the scene, and is just griefs their partner the entire way through. I want more of that in the sequel. Number 2, I want Venom to make moral decisions. I want him to learn what human emotions are. I want him to have more character arcs. And I want him to become like a real living human, just like Vision in Number 3. There's going to be a sex scene involving Venom in some way, and it's going to be very awkward, but it's also going to be very funny. Just think of all of the wacky hijinks you could do. I want you to look at this character design, and I want you to tell me that is not a big sexy right there. Number 4, Spider-Man is going to make a cameo, but they've already retconned Venom's backstory, so having Spider-Man in there is completely irrelevant. It would only be there to please the fans, just a little cameo, just like Stan Lee. Um, uh, this sounds like a bad idea. Actually, don't put Spider-Man in there. Otherwise, people would be like, "Why is this related to Spider-Man?" Did Did Venom just like make himself irrelevant in his own canon? I guess all I got from that film was that now I really like a Spider-Man villain who is no longer a Spider-Man villain. And now I'm just really excited for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm opening tomorrow. Why did I do this? Okay, I give I give Venom. Yeah, I give Venom a 6 out of 10. It really is more like a 5 out of 10 movie, but I enjoyed it. So I'll give it that. Okay, good night.